Coming up tonight on The Hockey Guy, we have the review, the power rankings, and then the preview for tomorrow. And I did the preview on one of the old boards and one of the new boards as well. So I drew the lines on by hand. I didn't really worry about how straight it was because I was trying to watch hockey while I was doing the preview boards. So that was fun. Just because I'm already using 3 and I needed 2 for tomorrow. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't want to be up till really insanely late. It's already insanely late as it is when I get these done. So thanks to the 7:30 start on the West Coast. Those are always fun. Montreal in against the Ottawa Senators. And I'm going to let you guys know, first off, too, if you are a big fan of a lot of goals, tonight's hockey disappointed you greatly. And we can kind of look at this and say, well, it's January. January offenses tend to start slowing down a little bit. As we get closer to the All-Star break, this is going to be the conversation. So, the Habs pressured at about 3 minutes. At 6 minutes, the Habs were just missing the net, just close, just missing it. They get a power play, they would score on it. Nick Suzuki scores from Petrie and Tatar at 8 minutes and 24 seconds. So with that power play goal, it's 1-0 Montreal. They go back to the power play, and late in the period, Hogberg robbed Lehkonen. Hogberg had a very good game. So it's 1-0 Montreal after one, and that's where kind of things turned, because in the second period, the Habs had a power play around the halfway mark, but during that period, Ottawa controlled the puck quite a bit. They were getting a lot of shots. There was a shorthanded break during that power play by Chris Tierney. Then there was Chabot hitting the side of the net, and lots of pressure late for the Senators, and Carey Price playing like Carey Price. This is what you have to see if you're a Montreal fan from here. If they're going to have any chance at all, Carey Price has to become Carey Price from 2015 once again. Third period, they had an early power play, those Senators. It turned into a 4-on-4. They'd get another power play. Price looked pretty darn good because the Sens were doubling the Habs in shots overall. And Carey Price wasn't really sweating it too much. However, Batherson would score at 13:32. That ties up the game. The crowd was split, because it's a Montreal game and it's in Ottawa, so that's close enough to Montreal to make it really split in the crowd. I would even wager there may have been more Montreal fans in the crowd than Ottawa. I would say that, and I'm sure people in the comments will say whether or not that was the case in the arena. What I see on TV is not always accurate of the arena. So the Senators got another power play. There was a shorthanded miss of the net by the Habs, so they again got close. In overtime, Kovalchuk had a breakaway. It's denied. Both teams had chances back and forth, and then at 4:08 of overtime, who gets the goal? Ilya Kovalchuk. That's right. Kovalchuk gets his first goal as a member of the Montreal Canadiens. They go into Ottawa and they win in overtime. Not, how do I put this? Beating Ottawa in overtime in Ottawa, it's fun and everything, but it shows how much they're struggling, that this was such a tough out for them. Price made 41 saves on 42 shots. They were not the better team tonight, but they had the better goaltender. Hogberg saved 23 out of 25 at the other end. Carey Price is your first star. Kovalchuk, second star with the overtime winner. And Hogberg is your third star from Ottawa. Power plays 1 for 4 for Montreal, 0 for 4 for Ottawa because their power play sucks. Shots were 8 apiece in the first period, 16-7 Ottawa in the second, 16-2 for Ottawa in the third. Thanks for coming out, Montreal. But in overtime, they outshot them 8-2. They got as many shots in overtime, almost exactly the same number as they had in the second and third period combined, when they had 9 shots in between those periods. 42-25 are the final shots in favor of the Senators, but where it matters on the scoreboard, Montreal gets the win. So we'll see if this is the start of something or not. Next up, Boston. Well, yeah, I got nervous at parts of this game because this was really kind of an Islanders type game. First period, early chances for both. Both teams had their shots. And then Mayfield would score from Barzal and Dobson at 4:36. Noah Dobson, with Pelech being out, is getting more of a chance. And I like Dobson a lot, so hopefully that continues. The Islanders pushed for another. The shots were 14-2 for the Islanders at 12.5 minutes. It was just a barrage. And without Rask in the net, if Halak had played this game, I'm saying that it would have been 2 or 3-0 at that point. Rask has been the better goaltender lately. The Islanders then got a power play. They wouldn't score on it. That would be their only power play of the game. Second period, more evenly played to start off. And then DeBrusk scores from McAvoy and Krejci at 8:33. Very opportunistic, the Bruins tonight, and I'm very impressed with that. They didn't really need Pastrnak to be a big superstar tonight, which is good because they need more than just Pastrnak having hat tricks to get goals and get wins. The Bruins got a power play, and they would not score on that one. However, Barzal gets a break, and I thought the Bruins got away with one on that one. It was I believe, a full-on breakaway for Barzal, and I thought they could have called a penalty on that one on the Bruins, but we go into the third period. Moore would get a goal from Heinen and Coyle at 5:48. So the Boston Bruins end up getting a goal from a guy who hadn't had a goal this season. Of course, he missed a lot of this season with, I believe, it was shoulder surgery he was recovering from. And the whistles were just put away. They weren't calling anything on either team. There were only 3 combined power plays in this game. This is one of those games that just the referee's like, all right, you guys settle it yourselves. Barzal would score from Bailey at 9:33. There was a scrum at the Islanders' net with about 4:43 left. And I put on the board, please, not an overtime loss. Boston comes into this game with 11 losses in overtime or shootouts, 6 of them in shootouts. They have 0 wins in shootouts, so I'm not a big fan. Overtime, it is. The Bruins get a power play in overtime. Cizikas was then hurt on a shot block, and Bergeron would get the power play goal, the winner, in overtime from Krug and Rask at 1:33. So Boston, they make it happen. They go into New York, they play the Islanders, and they beat them 3-2. Rask saves 35 out of 37. Varlamov saved 30 out of 33. Bergeron, Rask, and Barzal are your 3 stars. Power plays 1 for 2 for Boston, 0 for 1 for the Islanders. Shots were 14-5 Islanders in the first, 11 apiece in the second, 14-12 in the third in favor of the Boston Bruins. 3-0 Boston in the overtime to make the shots 37-33 in favor of the Islanders. I've been asked, how do you feel about the fact the Islanders aren't getting power plays? Well, I feel similarly about the Islanders as I do with Vegas not getting power plays either. And Vegas hasn't had a lot of power plays this year in certain games, a lot of their games really. It's either aggressive play on their part that's causing them to end up being down in manpower, and they're just not drawing penalties. So it may just be a case where you feel that stick between your feet, and you go, well, and you kind of squeeze it a bit, and you fall down. And this is how guys draw penalties. Got to watch though, because they are handing out the embellishment. Maybe the Islanders just fight through that, and so they're fighting through it, and they're costing themselves power plays as a result. Where the referee goes, they're fine. Guy didn't fall down. It didn't really affect the play. So, does that happen in this league? I think it does. I'm not happy about it, but I do think that it does. So, all right, moving along. Tampa. Well, it wasn't pretty, and it wasn't. If somebody wants to argue that this was a pretty game against the Flyers, I can't get behind that. But it's 10. It's 10. Yeah, that means it happens to wind up in a video. I think I've done videos on 10-game winning streaks for Tampa before. This is why when they hit 7 wins in a row, I didn't make a big deal of it, because it's Tampa. And with this win, they stay within 7 points of the Boston Bruins and 7 points out of first place in the NHL overall. Early Flyers power play. The Bolts got a power play soon after that. There was a double minor penalty to the Flyers. And then Point ended up hitting the post. Really good penalty kill, though, by the Flyers. I thought the Flyers played well tonight, just they were against Tampa. Second period, power play for the Flyers. That doesn't score, but Tampa does. Maroon scores from Cirelli and Chernak at 7:27, and Tampa kind of takes over shots-wise from there. Gord hacked at the goalie. That caused a scrum. That'll always cause a scrum. Last minute, Gord had a really good chance that missed high. So they had a chance to make it 2-0, and they didn't do that. So third period, the Tampa Bay Lightning get a power play. They wouldn't score on that. Sanheim then had a really good chance that was denied by Vasilevsky. The Bolts pushed at the 6-minute mark, trying to go for more. It didn't work. And then there was a pass to Giroux in front of the net, and he took it on his backhand, did Giroux, and Giroux couldn't put it in the net. So open net there. If it had been passed to his forehand, it probably ends up in the back of the net. It's a tie game, and then who knows what happens. But it didn't work out that way. Vasilevsky protected that lead when he was tested in the third period. The Flyers get a power play. They don't score on that. They pulled the goalie with 1:45 left. It just wasn't happening. Vasilevsky was not going to allow a goal tonight. So he ends up... I got the wrong number up here. That's the one that was wrong right there. And yep, that's right now. So Vasilevsky saves all 23 shots he faces. It's a shutout for him. His numbers are getting better every week. Carter Hart saved 27 out of 28. You know what? Hart had a really good game. He's the second star. Vasilevsky's first star. Maroon's the third star. That's how it works in a 1-0 game. Goalie, and whoever scored the goal. Easiest 3 stars you can pick in the National Hockey League. Power plays, 0 for 4 for Tampa, 0 for 3 for the Philadelphia Flyers. Again, I thought the Flyers played really well tonight. Just didn't get a goal. 8-7 were the shots in the first in favor of Tampa. 13-6 Tampa in the second. 10-7 in the third in favor of the Flyers. Final shots 28-23 in favor of the Tampa Bay Lightning, who look like the Tampa Bay Lightning, which is bad news for the rest of their division, Boston included. Boston's won 3 in a row now. They're getting back on track, but boy howdy, when they start playing against Tampa and when they do have some sort of another fallback, Tampa's going to overwhelm them. I would not be surprised to see Tampa end up first overall by the end of the year, and all of us shrugging our shoulders and going, yeah, of course. 10 wins in a row. Congratulations to Tampa Bay. Look for a video on that. Now, New Jersey. All right, so I don't know what to make of the New Jersey Devils, but the record's getting better. It is. And they went into Washington tonight. They played a Capitals team that has had its downbeats recently. But you know what? They're still first overall in the NHL. They're still tied for that with Boston. They have more wins than Boston, so they're still number 1 in the league. However, he sure scores from Butcher and Carrick at 5:27. This 1-0 New Jersey. Not only that, New Jersey was outplaying them at certain points in that first period. Now, the Capitals would have their comeback. End-to-end rushes around the halfway mark, and the Devils were doubling the Capitals in shots at the halfway mark of the period. That would change. Late power play for the Capitals. Zacha had a shorthanded breakaway that just missed. And then there was a scrum with around 49 seconds left, as the Capitals realized this isn't going to be an easy night. The Devils are not just going to go away. Second period, Coleman hits a post. Then there's a power play for the Devils. It doesn't score, but Gusev would get a goal from Simmons and Butcher at 3:28. So Nikita Gusev continues to play well in recent weeks. 4-minute Caps power play. Guess what happens on that? A shorthanded goal. And it's Coleman. Coleman would score from Zajac and Green at 6:48. And don't look now, but Coleman is pretty red hot right now. So when they traded away Hall and we all went, they're done. They threw in the towel. Maybe not. They're not going to make the playoffs, but at the very least, they're proving to be a very difficult team to beat right now. Then there was another shorthanded breakaway for Coleman. Now, during that 4-minute power play, Washington would get their goal. Vrana scores from Karlsson and Backstrom at 8:28. And that gets the crowd kind of back into it, but it's still they're down 3-1. So the crowd wasn't happy tonight. That 2-goal deficit didn't last. Hischier scores from Palmieri at 12 minutes and 11 seconds. At that point, Todd Reardon calls the boys over for a timeout so he can yell at them for a while because they're down 4-1 at home against the New Jersey Devils. It's just one of those games. The Capitals are one of those teams that does tend to be better on the road than at home. Now, third period, the Caps were up early in shots, 5-1. It didn't really matter. The Devils weren't giving him anything back. And I got to say, Louis Domingue, this might be the best game I've seen him play in a Devils uniform. I don't even know if it's close. Wood hit the empty net at 15:04. Yeah, they tried. They pulled the goalie with 5 minutes left. They tried. They figured, all right, well, we're down by 3. We'll try. And it just didn't work. So it ends up in the other net. Domingue, 33 saves on 34 shots will end up in their net. 33 saves on 34 shots. Holtby saved 17 out of 21. At some point, we have to have that conversation about how Braden Holtby just isn't as good as Samsonov. He's not. He hasn't been as good as Samsonov for months. 3 stars are Hischier, Domingue, and Butcher. And yet, they kept talking, New Jersey announcers kept talking about, Holtby going to the All-Star game, and he's an All-Star goalie. And I'm thinking, not this year. Not when you look at his numbers and how he's been playing. And I've been a big fan of Holtby's for years, but he really isn't an all-star goaltender this year. I think Samsonov's been the better goalie. Power plays 0 for 1 for New Jersey, 1 for 5 for Washington. So they had plenty of opportunities, including that 4-minute power play, and they got their goal there, but that was all they got. Shots favored the Capitals 12-8 in the first, 9-9 in the second, and 13-5 in their favor in the third. Final shots 34-22 in favor of the Capitals. They just couldn't get it past Louis Domingue. And goalies do that every now and then. They'll just, all right, I got to have a really good game. My job's maybe on the line. Maybe, sort of, kind of. So, New Jersey Devils go in and stun the Washington Capitals and my power rankings board. It's not very nice to do that, on a Saturday, because I don't like to see a lot of movement on a Saturday, but this result tells me there should be at least some movement. And maybe it's the idea that the Capitals are just having one of those downbeats. But this is a bad time for it because Pittsburgh is still on their way. And word has it next week Sidney Crosby comes back. So we'll see how that works out. That being said, I need to change boards. Alrighty. Carolina. So for Carolina tonight, because it was Whalers night, I decided to refer to them as the Whalers. Tonight, they're the Whalers. And the Whalers were at home against the Kings, and I don't have a lot to say about. And it's too bad. There's not really a whole lot to say about this game, other than Reimer's fantastic in a Whalers jersey. So maybe put him in a Whalers jersey. In soccer, football for Europeans out there, it's not unusual to see a goaltender wearing a different jersey than the rest of his team. So you just have the rest of the Carolina Hurricanes wearing black or wearing red, and your goalie wears green. I'm not sure there's an NHL rule against it, but if you convince Gary Bettman they can sell more jerseys, he might be okay with it. Reimer tonight looked pretty good. The Whalers were up 4-1 in shots at the 2.5-minute mark, and it didn't take them long to score. Niederreiter scores from Teravainen and Aho at 4:52. You'll notice I wrote HFD for Hartford and put the goal in green. And I thought this is going to be fun. There's going to be a bunch of green on the board. No. Not really. The Kings got a power play, and they don't score on it. Second period, power play for the Whalers, and Campbell played really well when tested. So did Reimer. It was the goalies stole the period. All hail the goaltenders in this game. They stole it, and Campbell, for me, is my honorary star of the night so far. I thought Jack Campbell played really well. Third period, the Kings had the early edge in shots. They get a power play. Really strong game for the Kings, just no goals. Much like Philadelphia tonight, they have to come out of this game saying, you know what, if we play like this, most nights we're going to win. So, as frustrating as this was, most nights we're going to get those goals. Reimer was just an absolute wall tonight. The Canes get a power play, and Campbell was also keeping it at a 1-goal game when tested during that power play. There's an empty net with 2 minutes left. Heavy pressure by the Kings with the 6-on-5. It looked like Reimer got hurt with 29 seconds left, but he stayed in the game. So that was kind of a scary moment. And all I could think was, don't make it a shared shutout. Let him get the shutout. There was a post for the Kings with 12 seconds left, and then it goes the other way, and Teravainen hits the empty net at 19:56 to make it 2-0. So the Whalers retire undefeated. This is their one game of the year. They're undefeated. The Whalers are the only undefeated team in the NHL. And it looks sharp. Those jerseys really look sharp. When they changed over and became the Carolina Hurricanes, when they moved out of Hartford, I thought it was criminal that we lost those Whalers jerseys. And I'm talking about the blue ones. I like the blue ones that I wore in the preview this morning. It's part of the reason I pulled that one out of my collection to wear for the preview. Because we always see the green one, we don't see the blue one. But when they went over to those Hurricanes jerseys, I just didn't like them because I missed the Whalers jerseys so much. Reimer's your first star, Niederreiter's second, Teravainen's third. Campbell saves 28 out of 29. Reimer saves all 41 shots he faced. Power plays, both teams went 0 for 2. Shots were 14-10 for Carolina / Hartford in the first. The Kings outshot the Whalers in the second and the third, 14-8 in the second, 17-8 in the third. Final shots, 41 for the Kings and 30 for the Whalers, who will go back to being the Carolina Hurricanes in their next game. But I still think it's fun. So I know there's people out there that aren't happy that they use the Whalers jerseys and, they shouldn't touch that, but it's fine. Next up, Rangers. The Rangers on the road struggle. And this really hurts their chances because, the Whalers get the win, so there's teams that they needed to get some help with, and they really didn't get it tonight. Hedel, however, would score from Strome and Lindgren at 134, and what's interesting with that one was I didn't think it was a very good goal. And I thought, if Binnington's going to have one of those off games, the Rangers could score a ton of goals. We've seen that with the Rangers in recent weeks, that they can get hot, they can score 4, 5, 6 goals in a game, and I thought, maybe St. Louis is taking them lightly. However, around the halfway mark, Bortuzzo would score from Barbashev and Pietrangelo at 9:38, and then Dunn would score from Sanford with 1:19 left in the first. So it's 2-1 St. Louis, and at that point, we have a good idea of what's going to happen. Second period, Perron, who was at the All-Star game, so all Blues fans can relax. He was voted in. Shannon Pietrangelo get the assists on his goal. I believe that was his 20th of the year. This is a 4-game goal streak for him, which ties a career high. That's at 126. The shots were 4-0 for the Blues at the 5.5-minute mark, and they really were in complete control until Howden scores from Hedel at 8:49. And again, you're thinking, all right, maybe. And that was a good goal. Nothing on Binnington on that one. But then Sanford would score from De La Rose and Barbashev at 10:34. And then about 4 minutes later, Jaden Schwartz scores from Shannon Sundqvist. When they're up by 3 goals after the second period, you're not coming back against the Blues. It's just not going to happen. Third period, there were some shaky moments for Lundqvist early on. I thought maybe he was going to allow a bunch more, but he didn't. The Rangers got a power play they wouldn't score on, and they end up losing the game 5-2. Big win for St. Louis. They're back on that hot streak of theirs again, and really, in all honesty, they look like defending Stanley Cup champions right now. Lundqvist saves 24 out of 29 in the loss. Binnington saves 20 out of 22 in the victory. 3 stars are Perron, Bortuzzo, and Sanford. Power plays 0 for 3 for the Rangers, 1 for 3 for St. Louis. Shots were 9-8 St. Louis in the first, 13-6 for St. Louis in the second, and in the third, 9-7 Rangers. Final shots 29-23 in favor of the Blues. And again, this game was it was pretty one-sided. The Rangers a couple of times. I mean, early on it looked like maybe with that Hedel goal, but then nah. And then they get within one, but within 2 minutes after that, it's not going to happen. So Binnington recovered from that early shaky-looking goal, and once again, he doesn't look nervous. All right, moving along. Anaheim. This one here was Chicago. Anaheim has a problem. They're scoring. And they're without Silverberg, so that's a problem. And during this game, Jones left. I don't think Jones came back. They were talking about it in the third period. I didn't see to the very end of the game what was going on. I was flipping around, but I don't think he came back. So if they're without Max Jones, that'll hurt. Troy Terry will get called up. Jones scores early from Kasha at 3:37. So Jones, who I've been waiting for some offense from him, we get that, and he gets hurt in the same game. Taves had a shot then that went off the post and it was right on the goal line, and Gibson makes this fantastic save. So they're really excited about that, and then Taves scores at 8:13. Not long after that, I think it was on the same shift. The Hawks then get a power play. They don't score on that. There was only one power play each way in this game. Second period, Kubalik scores from Kane and Taves at 4:20, and then Kubalik scores from Murphy and Smith at 12:21 to make it 3-1. Well, it's 3-1, so it's over, because Anaheim isn't going to score 2 goals for the rest of the game. Anaheim, who have offensive issues when everybody's healthy, when they're not, it's just not going to work. And what Dallas Eakins was trying to do in this game was he was double shifting Raquel, because Raquel is his best goal scorer. It kind of worked, but at the same time, you're going to end up overworking your best goal scorer too. Jones was hurt on friendly fire, so Jones was out of the game because he accidentally got in the way of a shot from a teammate. Gibson denied DeBrincat, and then we go to the third period. Leonard robbed Goodbranson, and I know Goodbranson isn't known as an offensive player, but Getzlaf passed it to him. It was a great shot, and Leonard was just fantastic. So Robin Leonard, with a nice bounce-back game, considering the last time he played was in that horrible loss against the Vancouver Canucks where he couldn't stop anything. Raquel would score, however, from Lundestrom and Comtois at 2:29. So you're looking at this and going, all right, well, maybe Anaheim can score another one. They're going to need more than one. Mata scores from DeBrincat and Kampf at 3:59. And there you go. It's 4-2. The goaltender gets pulled early by the Ducks because that's the way they work. They call the timeout with 1 minute and 26 seconds left. There just wasn't anything they could come up with to get through Chicago. So the Chicago Blackhawks, they survive what may have been considered a trap game of sorts. But considering their place in the standings, Chicago doesn't really have trap games either. Gibson, 29 saves on 33 shots. Leonard with 35 saves on 37 shots. Your 3 stars, Kubalik, who has been very good this year. Taves and Leonard, your second and third stars. Both teams 0 for 1 on the power play. Power plays don't factor into this. Shots are 10-8 in the first in favor of Anaheim, 17-9 in favor of Chicago in the second, and in the third, 18-8 for Anaheim. Final shots 37-33. And a lot of shots each way. Just the Ducks just couldn't get it. Their offense is a problem, and I'm gonna come right out and say it. I think Getzlaf's towards the end of his career as well, and I'm wondering what's going to happen with him between now and at the end of his career. And when we look and we go, well, he's never going to go anywhere. We didn't think Pavelski would either. So I don't know. It's California, so we just don't know. All right, next up, Oilers and Flames, and this was kind of everything you would want in a Flames-Oilers matchup. How about no defense? Now, I was disappointed at the start because it was Koskinen against Talbot, no Mike Smith. So as soon as that happened, I thought, man, I hope Flames win this because that'd serve them right for not putting Smith out there. You got to have Smith. It's in Calgary, right? You got to have Smith out there. They didn't. The Flames were up 5-1 in shots early. Like I'm talking like 2 minutes in. And then Lindholm would score from Mangiapane and Tkachuk at 4:04. So the crowd's going crazy. It was a split crowd during the night, though, because Edmonton-Calgary games work that way. Nugent-Hopkins would tie it up from Yamamoto and Draisaitl at 5:07. Yamamoto has been very impressive since his call-up. He's staying with the team for the rest of the year. He has to. McDavid would then score from Barrett 9:06, and the momentum had really shifted in favor of the Oilers. The energy level was higher. The Flames were kind of chasing the puck, and it looked like this could get ugly. However, in the last minute of that first period, and this is an important goal for momentum, Johnny Gaudreau scores from Monahan and Hanifin at 19:19. So it's 2-2 after 1, and it's in a game that's really feeling like we could end up with an 8-7, 9-8 type score. Second period, Nugent-Hopkins scores early from Yamamoto at 1:24, and I'm thinking last shot wins. All right, this is that game where it's going to be shots and goals all night. We're going to see at least 10 of them. Nope. However, Dubé would score from Ryan at 11:34. Nice rebound by Dubé went in the net, and there you go, on an Oilers turnover. So turnovers cost the Oilers there. Talbot denied Neal, and then that was where Kassian snapped on Tkachuk. Tkachuk goes in and hits him, and we can have the debate about what kind of hit it was. I thought clean hit. And what's interesting is it knocked off Kassian's helmet. Clearly, he was not happy because he almost crashed into the boards without his helmet. And so he went after Tkachuk. Tkachuk, to his defense, and I know there's people who don't like Matthew Tkachuk, he didn't throw a punch. He didn't get suckered into it. He let Kassian lose his mind. Kassian got a double minor for roughing and a 10-minute misconduct. So by hitting Kassian, he knocked Kassian out of the game for 14 minutes. And Cassian's an important energy guy for the Oilers. So that meant a double minor and a 4-minute power play for the Flames. Early in the third, it cashes in. Lindholm from Giordano and Johnny Gaudreau at 39 seconds. That's weird. All right. Now's as good a time as any to complain about the app. The app tonight kept, whenever a team got a 4-minute power play, it read it as a 5-on-3. So you'd be like, oh, there's a 5-on-3 for 2 minutes. And if I had just stayed on a different game, I would have gone, wow, they killed a 5-on-3 power play. Wow, there was 4 minutes of 5-on-3. No. And then what it also did, I don't know why, but it counted the entire 10-minute misconduct against Kassian as a power play. So you're loading up the app and you go, oh, the Flames have an 8-minute power play? Yeah, if I wasn't watching this game, I would have been really confused. and it's not the only game that happened with. So I don't know what happened here, but anytime there was a double minor called tonight, it read it as a 5-on-3 power play, and then it just goobered the whole thing up. So Lindholm's goal was a power play goal. The app now shows them as 1 for 2. After the game, it showed them as 0 for 2. So I had 0 for 2 on the board. It's 1 for 2 now. They must have gone back and retroactively fixed it. Anyways. It was a loud crowd with divided loyalties. So there was Oilers suck chants that went on, and then there were boos towards that chant, that kind of thing. The Flames buzzed around the Oilers net, and we had dueling chants at the half of "Let's go Oilers, let's go Flames," or just chanting about which team sucks more, kind of thing, which can be fun. I remember a hockey game in Chilliwack where it was sparsely attended. Chilliwack wasn't playing very well. They weren't in a playoff spot or anything, and they were against Merritt. And one of the visiting Merritt fans yelled out, "How's hockey doing in Chilliwack?" And there was laughter from the Merritt fans, and somebody yelled back, "About as good as it's doing in Merritt." It was a good moment. So I get the crowd dueling chants. They're fun. So the Oilers end up getting a power play. McDavid gave up on the power play at one point. With the power plays winding down, he's kind of like, all right, I'll do it myself. And when McDavid starts playing like that, that's when you know you've got the Oilers pinned down. That's honestly what you want. You want McDavid to kind of get fed up and go, all right, I'll just do this myself. Shows that you're blocking off all of his passing lanes. Talbot was really closing the door. Cam Talbot continued his excellent play tonight. They pull the goalie with 2 minutes left, the Oilers do. There were back-to-back icings by the Flames while they were tired. That's why I put it on the board, because they were really tired. And then the Oilers end up calling a timeout, which kind of let the Flames off the hook. Anyways, Koskinen saves 28 out of 32 in the loss. Talbot saves 29 out of 32 in the victory. Your 3 stars are Lindholm, Nugent Hopkins, and Johnny Gaudreau. Power plays 0 for 1 for the Oilers, 1 for 2 for Calgary. And if you look at it, McDavid with 1 goal, Draisaitl with 1 assist, you will normally take that. We limited them to 1 point each. Okay. That means we have a better chance at winning. Shots 12-11 in favor of Calgary in the first. They outshot them 11-6 in the second as well. The Oilers outshot the Flames 15-10 in the third. Final shots 33-32 in favor of the Calgary Flames. So, yeah, pretty decent night altogether. So that's 33. That should be 29 out of 33 then. Koskinen saved 29 out of 33. Yeah, the app's drunk. Clearly drunk the way that it was calling power plays tonight. I'm like, what are you doing? Because I know we've caught the app many times calling shorthanded goals where there isn't one. And there's times where I've looked and it says shorthanded goal and I'm like, what? And then I look at the box score. There's no power plays in there. I don't know who's calling it a shorthanded goal. Anyways, it's one of those things. I need to sit down with Gary at some point and have a discussion with him, don't I? That's not going to happen. It'd be fun if it did, but it's never going to happen. That being said, I need to change boards. Vegas has had a rough week. First, there was the home loss against the LA Kings in this. And Columbus, I tell you, if Columbus doesn't make the playoffs this year, they have done everything humanly possible to get there. When Korpisalo got hurt, a lot of people going, well, that's it. Don't have goaltending. Kivlenic hasn't taken the net, whereas Leakins has played every game. And he seems to be getting better. And it meant that tonight, Elvis was playing against Vegas. And he is named after Elvis Presley. So, pretty important night. And it's pretty damning that the Vegas Golden Knights didn't figure out a way to get Elvis Brzlikins out of Columbus over the last 2 years before he came over to play. Just Elvis playing on Vegas. It's a natural thing. You give up a first to make that happen because it's Elvis playing for the Vegas Golden Knights. But no, he came in tonight playing for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and he played really, really well. The first good chance went to Columbus, and it wouldn't be the only one either. Vegas gets a power play. The shots were 5-0 for Vegas at 8 minutes and 30 seconds. And then Columbus gets a power play, and they get another. So this is where things get interesting. That second power play, Emil Bemstrom gets a power play goal from Jones and Stenlund at 16:38, and Columbus pushed for more. And to be honest, with the way that the play was going, Vegas was fortunate they were only down by 1 at that stage. There were 11 straight shots for the Columbus Blue Jackets at that stage of the first period. They were pretty darn dominant after a slow start. That first chance they had, it wasn't an actual shot, but it was a good chance. So second period, early. Pierre-Luc Dubois scores from Harrington and Milano at 2:06, and that really took the crowd out of it. Not only that, but this was a great road game for Columbus. Vegas gets a power play. They don't get a whole lot of good looks on this power play. They were stifling the offense. They were blocking off passing lanes. Even Stone, as great as Stone is, could not generate a whole lot tonight. And when he did, Elvis was still in the building, and he was playing pretty darn well. There was a too many men call against Columbus late in that period, and they killed it off. That's what they did. Third period, Vegas pushed early. They did. They really pushed hard, and then Columbus pushed back. Wenberg would get a goal from Stenlund and Gerby at 8:26, and that really took the starch out for Vegas and for that crowd as well. This was a pretty quiet game in Vegas. Columbus was not giving Vegas prime chances. So they got their share of shots, but from where? And Merzlikins, when challenged, was fantastic. He gets a shutout in Vegas. Elvis shut Vegas out. It's just fantastic. And I say that because it writes itself. It is this narrative, it's this Hollywood narrative that Merzlikins, a goaltender that, a month ago we're talking about, he hasn't been very good. They can't win in front of him. He doesn't have a win yet. Is he ever going to get a win? And as well, look at his save percentage. He's not very good. And then you see, Korpisalo's down. Well, we're done now because Elvis can't win. And here we are, 27 saves for the shutout. Congratulations to Merzlikins on the shutout. Fleury saved 19 out of 22. I don't think the blame can go on him. It's a shutout. 3 stars are Merzlikins, Bemstrom, and Dubois. That's right. All 3 stars named are from Columbus by the Vegas announcers. So there you go. It finally happened. Power play, 1 for 2 for Columbus, 0 for 3 for Vegas. Shots were 13-7 in the first in favor of Columbus. Then they were 11-2 in favor of Vegas in the second. Vegas is really good at only giving up 2 shots in the second period. And then in the third, it was 9-7 in favor of Vegas. Final shots, 27-22 in favor of the Golden Knights. So, it was a really solid road game by Columbus. Out of those 27 shots, I don't know how many were prime scoring opportunities, but it was a low number for a Vegas game. And they fall out of first place with that loss. So we'll see what ends up happening with Vegas in the upcoming week. It's been a rough week. I guess you just shrug it off and say, all right, well, it's just 1 week. It'll be fine. Last up, is the Dallas Stars, who went in against San Jose and scored early and then said, all right, well, we're done. We're good. Pavelski, there was a video package before the game. They certainly talked a lot about Joe Pavelski playing his first game against the San Jose Sharks in San Jose. And they get a power play in the first minute, and honestly, Pavelski was pretty prominent early. Ben would score from Sagan and Heiskanen at 1:32. Power play goal, that's the 5th straight game for the Stars that they've had a power play goal. Their power play does not suck right now, and it's actually up to around middle of the pack in the NHL. The problem is they don't score anything else. And then Burns would score from Meyer and Carlson at 15:33, and it's a 1-1 tie. So second period, the Sharks get an early power play, and right after that power play ends, playing game number 1,700 in his career, Marleau gets a goal from Hertl and Burns. Marleau is the 5th NHLer in history to play 1,700 games in his career. The Sharks had pressure around the 6-minute mark, and then there's another Sharks power play, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Third period, Hudobin was holding it at 1 goal. Hudobin did the best he could. This reminded me of last year with Hudobin, where Dallas just doesn't give him goal support. Heavy Sharks pressured around 8 minutes. They mentioned that Marleau, being the 5th player to score, or 5th player to play in game 1,700, he is the first player to score in game number 1,700. Totally upstages Pavelski in his return to San Jose. Shucks. The Stars forced the Sharks into a penalty, but it doesn't matter. The Sharks penalty kill is fantastic for the most part. It allowed the 1 goal, but it wasn't allowing another. Hudobin came way out to play it, which got the crowd really excited and kind of had me going, okay, wait, Anton, what you doing there, pal? Get back in the net. Don't come all the way out there like that. Thankfully, San Jose went offside, or else, yeah. Dell denied Kiviranta late, so that was kind of a rude as well, that Kiviranta was going in for a goal, and Dell said no. They pulled the goalie with 151 left as the Dallas Stars, and they would not get that tying goal. Hudobin saves 24 out of 26 in the loss. Dell is their starter, 27 saves on 28 shots. He's the better of the two goalies. It's not a debate anymore. And San Jose, very quietly, is putting together a pretty good little run here, and they seem to be playing the trap. It feels like Bob Bugner said, okay, we're not going to be able to win games with the really up-tempo, fast games. We have to win grinding, low-scoring, low-chance games, and it seems to be working right now. Marlowe's star number 1, Dell's number 2, and Brent Burns is number 3. Power plays 1 for 2 for Dallas, 0 for 2 for the San Jose Sharks. The shots were 9-7 San Jose in the first, 10 apiece in the second, and then 11-7 in favor of the Stars in the third. Final shots 28-26 in favor of Dallas, but they lose the game 2-1, and it's a game that they could have A, kept pace with St. Louis, and B, put a little bit of daylight between themselves and Colorado. They lose their first game in 2020, and this is their first loss in 7 games. So I don't want to over dramatize it, but it was a chance for them to sweep California for the first time in their existence, and they just missed out. Not able to tie this game up. That being said, we're all done. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding tonight's games. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing right through. You just happened upon this video. And remember, I got 2 more video goodness things to go tonight because we do have early games tomorrow. Most of the games tomorrow and early. So the good news is I get all the video stuff done early tomorrow for the most part. And yeah, so that's the good news. The bad news is it means that I have to stay up late tonight to do the preview. But these things happen. It's part of the job. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing right through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It means a lot, and I will talk to you again soon.